Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
All of our guests today brought to you by the Waddling Dock Pub, one of Victoria's historic watering walls. Is that supposed to be holes?
I think so. I think I'd go with
you write
holes.
this?
I actually didn't. Brandon did, so be careful what you say.
Excellent job
Exactly.
of writing. Creativity.
So good.
One of Victoria's historic watering holes. Maybe it's watering walls. Maybe that's what he meant. Welcomes you to come and see why they're the talk of the peninsula. They're the talk of the peninsula because they have a watering wall. The Dog is the place to be for all NFL playoff action, including a Super Bowl party on February 12th. Also, swing by their attached liquor store, take a left at the watering wall to pick up your Donnie and Dolly swag. There are countless reasons to come, sit, and stay at the Waddling Dog. Boy, and we're going to get to Stefan Rosner in a second here. A lot of criticism, Delaney's OK Tire and Langley inbox towards Patrick Allvin, referring to the two young players he acquired from the Islanders yesterday as a couple of first-rounders.
You got to know that Ratu is a second-rounder.
Yeah. Beauvillier, a late first-rounder.
215.
Ratu, a second-rounder in 2021.
That's his job to know that.
Okay, no, well, it's not his job to know that. I think what he's saying...
He's a general manager in the National Hockey League, Don.
Okay, and look, I excuse Patrick Allvin for mistakes like that. English is a second language. But even beyond that, I think what he was trying to say was, you look at any mock draft from 2021, and Ratu is in the first round. Any mock draft, you can take a look at it, and I think that's what he means, that when he was with the Penguins, he considered him a first-round draft pick. He slipped, and he ended up being a second-rounder. But you know what? I think Patrick and I are in the same wavelength. You'll come around one of these days.
If he went in the second round, he went in the second round, Don. Like, I don't get, how does that not click into your head?
I knew what he was talking about. We got to get to Stefan
go.
here. Okay. Stefan Rosner is going to join us, Islanders beat reporter with NYI Hockey Now, as Bo Horvat joins the New York Islanders. Stefan, thanks for doing this. How are you, sir?
Good. You appreciate you having me.
Yeah, no problem. Does this trade make sense for Lou and the Islanders?
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. Comes as a shock, though. I mean, you look at this Islanders team. They're 2 points out of a second wildcard spot. The Penguins have that spot, 3 games in hand. The Buffalo Sabres are between both those teams, also with 3 games in hand. And the Islanders just had a horrendous January, 4-8-3 record, averaging under 2 goals per game. So they needed offense, and why not go get a guy that scored 31 goals this season?
Barzal, Pajot, Cizikas, Nelson. This is a team full of centers. Where does Bo fit?
Oh, he's going to, likely we'll see what Lambert decides to do, but you have to think that Barzal moved to one of the wing spots and Horvat will center him. The question now becomes, who plays on the wing there? The Islanders got Kyle Palmieri back this past week. He played 4 games. He played alongside Anders Lee and Brock Nelson, and that line produced 6 of the Islanders' 7 goals, of the Islanders' last 7 goals. So I don't think Lambert's going to want to separate that. The question becomes, again, who plays in that wing spot? Could it be Simon Holmstrom? Hudson Fasching, who knows what they're going to do, but I would think that Horvat plays Barzal for sure.
Yeah, and Bo talked about playing with Matt yesterday during his Zoom availability. Was the pressure, and you mentioned not being in a playoff spot right now, was the pressure on Lou to make some sort of move?
I don't think Lou ever feels pressure. I think, it comes to a shock when he does everything, and you see over the last couple of years, he really hadn't gotten that superstar-type player for Matt Barzal, and again, Barzal did sign an 8-year extension to start this season, so you thought, okay, if they're going to get a player from, might as well be this year. And again, Lamoriello banked on last year being a one-off. The Islanders don't make the playoffs. COVID happens, injuries happen. Schedule in the second half was brutal with the amount of games they had to play. And he stood pat at the deadline in the offseason. He goes and gets a defenseman in Alexander Romanov, but no offensive help. So I think, as you saw, the Islanders' offense struggled from mid-December to now, and I think he thought, okay, if anything is going to happen this season, we got to go out and get someone to help this group offensively, provide a spark, and I think he did that here.
Stefan, I have one more about Bo. People I talked to last night think that Lou would never made this deal unless he knew and had an idea that he can get Horvat at an extension. Do you see that happening?
Yeah, I for sure see that. I don't think, like you said, I don't think Lou is a person that would go out and make this move if he didn't think he could get it done. I received a text late last night. They were actively working on an extension as soon as possible, so I think that will happen over the next couple of days. But again, you won't know until Lou says it. So.
All right, let's talk about the two players the Canucks got, Beauvillier and Ratu. What do you know about both of them? Tell us.
Yeah, so Anthony Beauvillier, he has raw speed. Young guy, 25, still has another year left on his contract. He creates chances. His problem is just scoring goals. He doesn't finish enough chances. This last week, he played with Matt Barzal. I feel like a last chance for him to prove himself to the organization that he fit. And he didn't provide any goals. He got an assist on the Barzal overtime winner in their last game. So, he didn't finish his chances. He creates chances for sure. And I think a lot of it has to do with the mental aspect of the game. He was a healthy scratch earlier this year. He's been a healthy scratch last year, too, under Barry Trotz. And I think, he got overwhelmed a bit. And I think a change of scenery will definitely bode well for him.
All right, Stefan, the other one for you is I wanted to ask you, Ratu, is the potential there? How far away do you think he is? Because he's going to start in Abbotsford here. And so how far do you think he is away from the NHL?
I don't think he's far at all. He's played 12 games with the Islanders this year. The biggest thing, though, is that he didn't get a lot of ice time, under 9 minutes per game. He had two goals, two brilliant goals where he cut to the slot, showed off his confidence there, and he has a great shot. And he's really wise beyond his years, talking to Matt Martin, Anders Lee, and Beauvillier in the room about what he brought. He's so defensively sound. He's in the right spots, strong stick, strong in the forecheck, understands where he has to be in all aspects, can play on the power play, can play on the penalty kill. I see him as a number 2 center in this league for sure. And with the Canucks, given what they're going to go do this year, he's going to get a chance to do that.
No playoffs last year, on the bubble this year after a lot of significant playoff success for 2-3 years before that. What's gone wrong lately, Stefan, with the Islanders?
Well, I think this group under Barry Trotz obviously was a defensive-minded game, and I think it just wear and tear. This is not a young group by any means. I think the grind they had to do, and again, regular seasons for them under Trotz weren't amazing. They snuck into the playoffs, they got to the dance, and then they danced. And it's just a grueling type of hockey. Now you have major injuries. Last year, Ryan Pulak's out for a very long time. That really hurt their back in terms of transitioning. The offense suffered for that. Then you talk about this year, and Adam Pellick's been out for quite some time. He just came back this past week, and the Islanders look a little better defensively. So I think injuries definitely played a part again last year with COVID-19. But also, there's guys that you're paying to score goals, and they're not scoring at a high enough rate, Beauvillier being one of those included. So I think what you're seeing is a combination of just wear and tear on the body, injuries, and players getting paid to score and not doing that. And I think, again, bringing a guy in like Horvat and shipping out Beauvillier, who's been a big part of this team for the last couple of years, that should provide a spark, and we'll see if the Islanders respond.
All right, Stefan, I'm sure you're aware of this. Matt Barzal is from this part of the world. He's from the Vancouver area. 43 points in 51 games. We talked about him earlier and the possible move to the wing. Just your opinion of his season so far.
Yeah, I think it's had up and downs like every season. He went the first 18 games without a goal, but he was racking up assists towards the top of the NHL. And I think for Barzal, the most frustrating thing for him is that he has line mates change every single game. I think he played 30 games with Oliver Wahlstrom, who suffered a lower body injury and is out indefinitely. And since then, he's had, I think, 10 or 11 different line combinations as Lane Lambert tries to find a missing piece. And for Barzal, I think the hardest thing is finding someone to play with him, because he plays a game that's, you don't know what he's going to do in the offensive zone. I think a player that could find time and space is what he's needed, and the Islanders haven't had that for him. So I think he definitely needs to shoot more. I know he shoots more than people think, but he has a shot, and he has to trust it and cut to the slot and do those things. And having a player like Bo Horvat on the line with him obviously will take attention away from him, but also is a guy that could finish off chances. And that's what we really haven't seen. Again, assist numbers and goal numbers are all about teammates working together. And right now it was a one-man show for Barzal for a long time.
This deal addresses the future for the Canucks. So, Stefan, most people here are pretty positive when it comes to what the Canucks were up to. But let me tell you, you got yourself a class guy. You're gonna love Bo Horvat on and off the ice. This was great, Stefan. Thanks so much for it. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.